Hey, hello, Challenger. Very happy to be here. And please, if you have any questions, just send a message here and I'll be able to help you. So, welcome to this event where I'm gonna talk about the 6 obstacles that prevent you to be promoted as a developer. And remember that the main event will happen on the 17th of September at the same time of today at 10 p.m. Dublin time. So I know that many developers are stuck uh, in their companies and they don't know what to do to get promoted. And please, if you can listen to me perfectly and if you can see me, just say yes on the chat, just to not take the risk of the video having some technical errors. So please just say something. Just say, okay, the sound is good. Just tell me. And if you can tell me where you're from and how many years of experience you have, that would be great. Then we can engage a little bit. Okay. Hello, Ibrahim. Yes. Thank you so much. That's awesome. So now I know I can continue. And if you can let me know where you're from and what technologies you work with. Are you a Java developer? What technology do you work with? And also, if you can briefly tell me what's your biggest career challenges, we can work through them. So send your questions if you're curious. And I'm gonna follow up here in the main content of this live event. But if you have any questions, I will be checking you on the chat, okay? So, okay. So just remember that this event is a warm-up series. It's not the main event. The main event will happen on next Tuesday at 10 p.m. Dublin time. And we're going to be talking about what prevents you to be promoted as a software developer. So in previous companies, I was stuck and I thought that only technical knowledge was enough to get promoted. I was totally wrong, right? Because I was focusing too much on technical knowledge. And then I noticed that many other developers were earning twice, 4 times what I was earning. And um, even though I was more technically prepared than them, it didn't matter because they knew how to communicate better than me. They knew how to get visibility better than me. So even though their code quality was worse than mine, they were getting a lot more than me. So I was stuck in my career. And I was making this huge mistake of focusing on solely on technical stuff. And just to reinforce, if you have any questions, leave on the chat because I will go back to the chat and I will answer to you, okay? So let's continue then. So what are those obstacles? So the first one is lack of visibility. So you can't hide your work. You have to choose high visibility projects. So if you see that a project in your team is not the project that gives the most money, try to go to the project that you know that it's the project that gain visibility, that the managers are looking to it. So go to this project, make your way to get there. You don't need to stab anyone in the back to go to this project, but it's important for you to keep your eyes and to be ready to jump to this project, because obviously if you know a lot about the business requirements of these projects, you're going to be able to deliver more value. Also, when you are in meetings, speak up in meetings. Don't stay quiet. You need to show your expertise and your skills. You need to show that you're a good problem solver. Just don't be that annoying person who talks too much and don't bring any value. Be sure that if you're talking about something, bring value to the table. Just don't forget about talking randomly. Talk about things that you can create value. And if you notice a key project, volunteer for that. Sometimes there will be a work on the Scrum board, on the Kanban board that no one wants to get. But sometimes if you get those most problematic problems, then you're going to be known as the developer who solves the most difficult problems. And that will help you to gain visibility. And obviously, don't expect it to be easy, because if you get those projects that it's going to be complex, you're going to have to work a lot, but you're going to grow. You're going to get more visibility, and you're going to be able to solve more complex problems. And you need to know how to do internal networking as well. So you need to identify who are the key people and talk to them. And don't be that AskKisser person, that's AskKisser developer. Just be genuine, right? If you see something nice about a key person, tell this person that, oh, what you did was nice, but be genuine, because people notice if you're being fake. So notice something nice that those key people do and genuinely compliment this person. And not only those key people, compliment your coworkers as well, because your coworkers will help you to get promoted as well, because they're going to give you feedback. And most times when the managers are going to promote someone, they're going to ask their coworkers, your coworkers, and they're going to ask if you do a good job or not. And it's going to help you to get promoted for sure. And also another great idea is to specialize. So specialize in a technology that preferably no one wants to learn about. So specialize in something that, for example, I know that many backend developers don't like front-end. So if you have an Angular project, try to be the go-to person for Angular, because if you are this key person who has knowledge on the front end and a little bit on the back end, you're gonna you're gonna stand out in your company, and then it's gonna be easier for you to get a promotion, because if this ability is quite rare, because most developers don't like front end, then your manager will be more likely to promote you, because if you don't continue in the company, he or she knows that it's gonna be difficult to find another developer with your set of skills. Another skill that's difficult to develop for software developers is to give a talk like I'm giving here. So this is difficult because I know that most developers are introverts. So to give a talk, you need to use your courage, right? In the beginning, I had to use my courage because I had zero confidence to give a talk. And what I did, I learned a lot about certain subject, I organized the content, and I delivered the talk. I started giving talks in one of my first jobs as a developer, and it worked very well. I gained a lot of visibility, and you can try that as well. So give a talk in your company that will help you stand out, right? So if there's something that you're very well versed, some technology that you can share with other developers, go ahead. Help your team learn this technology, or if you have an idea for a new technology, tell them, and then you're gonna also stand out if you're able to explain a new technology, and if you are able to see a problem in your company that a certain technology would solve it, and then you are able to explain that to your whole team and convince them that this solution is a good one, that's a great step for you to go to the next level as a software developer. And write in the chat if that makes sense, because then I'm sure that you are understanding the topics and that I'm not going too fast. And so another big obstacle for you to get a promotion is insufficient skill development. And that happens so much because I see many developers learning in the wrong way. So instead of, taking some courses and reading books and mixing the way they learn, they are very passive. They go through the tutorial hell, they watch a lot of tutorials, but they don't get more confident in their technical skills because they're not practicing those skills. Remember, to acquire skills, you need to go through the frustration time, right? You need to try to implement that thing you learned, make mistakes, struggle, and then you try again, you make mistakes again, and then you struggle more. So you have to have a balance, because if you only study theory, it won't work. You need to have a balance, maybe create a personal project or contribute to open source projects, because then you're going to for sure become a better software developer. And it's important to develop consistency, because without consistency, you can't get much better, right? So if you notice, the top achievers in the world, they are consistent, and they do that not because of motivation, but because of discipline. So they developed discipline to keep doing and keep taking action. And that's difficult to do, right? Because anyone can have motivation and start something and then give up. The difficult thing is to continue doing with discipline. And obviously, to be disciplined and to not give up, there is a lot of work we need to do behind the scenes, right? And you need to work also in your mindset. I know that developers might hate this word. I also didn't believe in that because I was purely technical. I didn't care about anything else other than technical stuff. But I changed my mind because I noticed that it's not only technical stuff. We need to know, we need to have a general knowledge. And more importantly, we need to bulletproof our mindset, because our mindset is like our operation system, right? And if you don't have a good mindset, what's going to happen is that you're going to give up very quickly. So the first obstacle, you're going to say, oh no, I don't want that anymore. So you need to be careful with that. You need to bulletproof your mindset so that you are able to take courses, take mentorships, because you need to choose a mentor who already got what you want. Don't choose a mentor who is a random person who you don't trust. Take a mentorship from someone who already got what you want. And attend conferences is so important, because in conferences, you learn the new technologies, you do networking, you meet amazing developers. So it's an amazing investment in your career. So don't forget to upgrade your technical skills. You need to be always doing something different and taking action, because learning passively doesn't work. Definitely doesn't work. You have to go through the frustration time. You need to make mistakes, and you need to learn from them. So, and the other thing that was very heavy to me when I was in one of the previous companies was my limited soft skills. Like I said, I was far behind from other developers, even though I was better technically. It didn't matter, because they were much better than me on soft skills. They could communicate clearly. And even some other developers told me, hey, Rafael, you're pretty technical, man. Like, you can't go beyond that. And I had this limiting belief. I thought that I could never go beyond that. I thought I was pretty technical and I would stay like that forever. There wasn't anything I could do. And there is where mindset makes sense, because I had the fixed mindset. I thought I could never develop other skills. I thought that, I have the technical skills and that's all I can ever have. But it's not like that, because everything in life is a skill, and it's just a matter of you focusing on that thing and taking action to improve that. So fortunately, if you're a pretty technical person, you can also improve your communication skills, like I did. So one of my mistakes was that even though I was delivering high quality work, I wasn't able to communicate that clearly so that I would get the visibility. So that's a big mistake from many developers, because they focus too much on the technical side, but they forget how to communicate clearly. And to communicate, to improve your communication skills, you have to do a conscious effort. You need to think how you could deliver your message more simply, because the more simply you can deliver your message, the better your message will be understood by other people. So, and the other thing is that if you can communicate something with simple words, it means that you mastered that topic. So you need to communicate clearly. That's crucial for you to gain visibility. Otherwise, you talk about lots of things, nobody understands you, and then you don't get visibility. And to get promoted, it also helps to develop your leadership side. So you need to also develop your emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is kind of connected to mindset. So you need to understand what are your strengths and your weaknesses, because all of us have strengths or weaknesses, right? And by knowing yourself well, you're able to use your strengths more effectively. And when someone touch your weaknesses, then you are aware. You say, hey, okay, I know that this is my weakness, and I will defend myself here. So emotional intelligence is important because, for example, if your ego is very fragile, you won't be able even to take a feedback. And feedback is highly important, because if you don't ever take feedback, there will be lots of blind spots and you never know what's going on, what's wrong. And I had to develop this thick skin. It's difficult sometimes, right? Because sometimes you get critics and they are kind of harsh, but you need to get ready for them. Obviously, you need to also have a balance, right? Because there could be people who wants to knock you down, and you have to be aware. Say, hey, okay, this person wants to knock me down, so then you can take feedback from a person who you don't respect with a grain of salt, right? So you have to be careful, but at the same time, you can't let your ego own your way, because if you let your ego own your way, firstly, you won't be even able to take a feedback. And if you take a feedback, you're going to feel crushed, right? But it's something that you need to keep in mind. Learn how to delegate. So if you have the opportunity to assign tasks to colleagues according to their skills, do that, because this is a leadership skill. Maybe if you are in a Scrum board meeting, and if you know that a certain developer has a skill that's is the same, is the right one to solve that problem, then you can suggest that this developer could solve the problem. The other trait of a good leadership is to mentor other developers, right? So by mentoring other developers, you're going to multiply your skill set. So you're going to help other developers to develop better code, and you're going to help them to be better problem solvers. So, and problem solving skills, it's also something very important nowadays, right? Because nowadays with microservices, there are so many technologies, so many things we don't know. It's not like back on the days, right? Back on the days, if you are working with a certain technology, you would only learn a framework, the database, you would learn some coding techniques, and you should be ready to create your service and solve your problems. But nowadays, with microservices, you need to know a lot more than just coding. So developing your problem-solving skills is extremely important. And nowadays it's so common, the tasks where you need to investigate something. So you need to develop your problem-solving skills, and you need to understand the problem deeply. So when you get something to investigate, sometimes you're going to have to talk to many other developers, you're going to have to talk with other teams, you're going to have to understand how the process of security works between microservices. You need to understand how their API works, what's the business requirement. You need to understand lots of things involving the problem. So you need to develop those skills to be a good software engineer, because really, code nowadays, AI can create the whole code. The difficult thing as a software engineer is to be able to understand a problem and solve a problem, collect information from different teams, understand what's going on, because companies are complex. It's not simple at all. So I would say that, well, the work from software developers changed so much. Back in the days, you would create your CRUD and it would be good. That would be everything, right? But nowadays, it's totally different. You need to know about new technologies. You need to know how to make your microservice scalable. You need to make your microservice performant. You need to have lots of different tests. You need to make meetings with your team to introduce technology and tell them the pros and cons. So nowadays the context is totally different, right? And when you get complex tasks, you need to get the ability of knowing how to break it down, because sometimes you're gonna get super complicated story, and if you don't break it down, it's probably gonna procrastinate forever, and it won't be able to solve it. And that's an ability that you have to know how to do it. And it's not difficult. Basically, you get a big story, a big task, and you break it down into more into simpler tasks, so that will make you solve those tasks more easily. And never stop learning. So get your application, understand the code from other teams, understand the business requirements, run queries on tables, on important tables, and understand what's going on there. Because by doing that consistently, you're going to understand the business more and more. And then it's going to be more difficult to replace you. You're going to become more valuable, because to learn technology, it's okay because you can learn in any company, but to learn the business, you can only learn the business in the company. And also, once you learn that, try to document things as much as possible, because then you become a knowledge multiplier. And that's ultra valuable for any company. And you also have to keep up with industry trends. I don't mean that you need to study everything about AI, because AI is the big shining toy nowadays, but you need to keep up with industry trends regarding your focus. So if you can let me know what is your tech stack, I'll be happy to help you. So tell me your tech stack, if you work with Java or if you work with Kotlin or any other programming language, because you're going to have to focus on the technology that makes sense to you, right? So don't randomly change technologies. You have to choose the technology that you're going to focus and you're going to grow in your career. So you need to be strategic. Don't just watch videos randomly on the internet, because that won't help you. You need to focus. Without focus, I'm pretty sure that you won't get you won't do good in your career. So you need to focus. You need to know what you're doing. So you need to have this critical thinking, right? So when you're solving a difficult problem, you have to question assumptions. You can't only accept and say, hey, okay, I know this is a problem, and just accept the status quo. You need to question assumptions, because sometimes people will tell you something stupid, and if you don't question that, then you might accept something that is totally wrong. So question assumptions and make sure that you're delivering the right solution, and gather information. When you get a story where you have to do an investigation, you have to gather the information from the right people. So you need to contact the teams where you're going to get the information in a clear way. So I know this is a bit annoying. This kind of work is not easy, Like I said, back in the days, it was pretty easy. You would do a CRUD, you would create your code, and you would deliver your feature, and that would be it. But nowadays, it's quite different. You need to, engage with other teams. You need to understand what's going on. You need to understand a little bit about networks. You need to understand about microservices. So nowadays, not that easy. Nowadays, it's much more valuable for you to be a software engineer instead of being a programmer. Back in the days, to be a programmer was more common. Nowadays, it's different. You need to be a software engineer. You need to solve problems, right? Because even nowadays with AI will create the whole code for you. So you need to be a good problem solver and, develop good code. So it doesn't mean that you won't create code at all. You will create code, but you will create less code than you were creating before because the technology evolved. So nowadays it's more important for you to know how to design a system rather than create code, right? And you need to develop a skeptical mindset. So you need to always question things, right? If something seems wrong, you say, hey, okay, so why do we have this solution? Why don't we do that way instead? And sometimes people will tell you that, oh, that's because that's the way it is. I have no idea why. So if you see something that's wrong that you clearly can implement a solution, talk about the solution. Bring the solution to the team and propose the solution so that you can work on that. So don't simply accept things as they are because they could be better. So it's just a matter of you using your critical thinking to improve things. So you gotta solve complex problems because if you do that, you're gonna get more valuable because no one wants to solve the difficult problems. So if you see a story there that it's difficult, that have too many complex points, obviously, if you are a beginner, obviously, don't take the risk because it might backfire you. But if you are an intermediate developer and you want to become a senior developer, you want to take the steps to get to those complex problems. The more you do that, it will be challenging, to be hard, to be difficult. But the more you do that, the better problem solver you become. And obviously, there will be people helping you because nowadays it's really impossible to solve problems on your own. There are so many variables, so many things involving a project nowadays that you have to talk to many stakeholders. You need to talk with other developers. You need to talk with business. You need to know who are the right people you can talk with. And another great thing you can do is to teach others, because by teaching others, that's the ultimate way for you to learn any subject. So if you try to explain something and you can't explain that thing, it means that you don't know this thing. And I have this example for many developers, right? Sometimes they go to interviews and the interviewer asks them, oh, what is polymorphism? And then the developer has no idea how to answer that. And developers have to know how to explain those basic concepts, right? From object-oriented programming or data structures, they need to know what is a queue or stack or graph, or those basic algorithms like depth first search or breadth first search. You need to know how to implement them because in a coding challenge, you might need to implement those algorithms. And embrace continuous learning. Just accept that you're going to have to learn forever. In software development, even more. Technologies evolve so fast. Like nowadays, technologies are very different than what it was like 10 years ago, right? When I was on my previous jobs, it's totally different. So nowadays, almost every software are in the cloud. So we use microservices. We need to know how to deploy, how to make our software deployable. We need to create a good infrastructure. So there are containers, there are software automation pipeline. So there are so many things nowadays. The essence is the same, right? Because there are going to be still building software with code. You're gonna be breaking you're gonna be breaking them into modules separately on different parts of the system. So there will be many things that you're gonna see. And well, in software development, you also have to embrace failure as a learning tool, because sometimes you're gonna get complex stories and we might fail. It's an example that happened with me. So 10 years ago, when 10 years ago, it was something around 10 years ago, like 8 years ago, maybe. Anyway, it's a long time ago. I wanted to become a senior developer. I was intermediate developer at the time. And I said, okay, to become a senior developer, I'll have to get a bigger challenge. And then I saw that there was a story there with 13 points of complexity. And I said, this is the fire I'm gonna throw myself in. And I threw myself in this fire. I said, hey, I want this story with 13 points of complexity. I underestimated this story. And again, I relied too much on my technical skills, but my soft skills weren't that good at that time. So I had many mental blocks at that time because I was kind of afraid of asking people about requirements, because I thought I would look stupid because I didn't understand the requirements clearly. And instead of asking business people about what was the requirements, I didn't. And it was a lot harder to me to understand what was going on and what was the solution exactly. And then I tried and tried and tried, and it was very complex. And then, like, after the first week, in the second week of the sprint, I was kind of understanding the problem. Then when I finally understood the problem, it was almost the end of the sprint. And because I had this block of my ego was a bit fragile at the time. I didn't ask the business people, and what happened is that I couldn't deliver my story. And it's okay. Like, I learned a lot from this failure. So I couldn't deliver, and other developers did overtime work to finish this work. And management didn't like about what happened. We had a retro, which was horrible. But in the end, it was a great learning experience to me, because I learned that technical skills definitely wasn't enough. Like, in that situation, I learned that for sure, definitely I was doing something wrong. Because even though I knew everything technically to solve that problem, I lacked the soft skills, I lacked communication skills, I lacked a little bit of mindset, right? Because I was, with a stupid fear of being seen as stupid, because I was going to make questions about the business, and I thought that the business was obvious to everyone. And it wasn't. It was complex. Like, a story of 13 points it's huge. And then I noticed that the major complexity of this story wasn't the code, because the code was quite easy, to be honest. The complexity was to understand the business requirements, because it involved so many tables. It involved complex requirements. So I needed to talk to someone from the business to understand clearly what was going on there. I didn't, but I took this step, and I threw myself in a good fire, right? It was a bit painful, but I did that because I wanted to become a senior. And that was an act of courage. Even though I wasn't prepared, I took this step anyway. I failed, but then I learned from it. So sometimes what you need is an act of courage, right? So you need to take that leap of faith to reach to the other level. And like when you are solving a very complex problem, sometimes you feel overwhelmed and you need to take a break, right? Even I think, well, I'm pretty sure that you saw that so many times as a developer, right? Because you try to solve that problem and you don't have the answer, but then magically you sleep, and then in the next day you have the answer. How many times did that happen with you? I'm sure that it was many times. If it happened to you, developer, just say yes in the chat, because I know this is so common, and that's not a coincidence. That happens because we actually learn when we are sleeping. We store knowledge in our brains when we are sleeping. So you need to focus on your health to be a good developer. You need to do exercises. You need to sleep well, and those things will help you to become a better developer. Definitely. Another thing that prevents you to grow in your career is to not do enough networking. So you need to identify who are the key influencers in your company. I'm not saying to you to be an ass kisser, right? I'm telling you to be genuine, to compliment people genuinely, so that because people are not stupid, people will notice if you're faking. People will notice. And when you deal with people who are better than you, then you grow. So you have to avoid that ego barrier. I had this ego barrier because I thought I was better technically, and other people who weren't as good technically than me, I thought that this was unfair, but it wasn't, right? There was a reason why those people were earning 4 times my salary. It's because they had skills I didn't have. They had more developed communication skills. They knew how to show their work. They knew all of those skills that I didn't have. So that's why they had it. They were earning a lot more than me. But if you make a connection with those people, you're gonna learn some things from them. So try to hang out with people who don't who have the skills you would like to have. So if someone is a good communicator, hang out with this person. You might learn something. Or if this person has good networking, hang out with this person, because you're probably gonna get good networking as well, right? And if this person has 4 times your salary, for sure this person has something you don't have. For sure this person developed something you don't have. Sometimes people are not conscious why they are successful, and that's okay. I know so many people who have no idea why they are successful, because they just do something in the automatic mode and they don't know. But those people who don't know, you observe them, and you become the analyst, and you analyze what's going on, what this person does that you don't, and then you emulate the things that you like. Obviously, don't need to become that person. You emulate on your way to be, because this person is doing something you are not doing. So don't be arrogant to think that you're the best, right? Because if someone is earning more than you, this person has something more than you, right? This person has some knowledge you don't have, because your salary is a clear indicator that you're doing good in your career. So you need to pay attention on that. And the other thing that prevents you to have your promotion is lack of initiative. So when there's something that nobody wants to do, be the one who will do that. So if someone says, okay, there is this boring task here, there is this difficult, challenging story, does someone want to take it? You be the person who will take it, because then you're going to show initiative, and obviously be strategic, right? So you need to choose the things that you're going to get visibility. If you see that it's a story that won't get you visibility, it will just get you behind, don't do that, right? You have to be smart here. You need to be strategic. So If there is a task that you know that there isn't visibility, no one wants to get it, then you have to, talk with your team and agree on something fair for everyone. Otherwise, if you get such a task, it won't help you to grow. So you need to be strategic and be the solution-oriented person. Don't reach out with the problem and say, hey, there's this problem, this problem. Anyone can do that. Anyone can complain about things. The difficult thing is to talk about solutions, right? Because, be complaining all the time doesn't help. So I know so many developers who just complain, and those people are annoying. Like they sometimes they try to humiliate others. But in deep inside they are anxious, they are sad and whatever. So don't be those people. Be solution oriented. I'm not talking about toxic positivity, because that's bullshit. And but you need to be solution oriented, right? So think about something that could solve the problem, and don't be that annoying person who just complain. And document your achievements. Otherwise, nobody will notice your achievements. So be sure to document it, and if possible, send a weekly report to your manager, because then you have everything well documented, all the achievements you did, and why you should get a promotion. And don't forget that if you want a promotion, be transparent with your manager. Tell your manager right away. Say, hey, manager, what should I do to become the very best developer in this company? Your manager will tell you, say, hey, you need to do this and this and this. And preferably choose smart goals, because those are goals that are tangible, goals that you can achieve. Avoid those vague things like, oh, you need to become a better developer. Really? Obviously, you need to become a better developer, but you need something that's tangible, right? Something that you can achieve, a goal that makes sense. To be a better developer doesn't make any sense. Anyone wants to be a better developer, but you need to decide what skill you need to improve exactly. It could be that you want to become better with Docker, you want to become better with AWS, or you want to become better with Java, Kotlin, Golang, or Message Broker with Kafka. So what exactly do you want to become better? And how you would decide that, how your manager would measure that. It's his or her job to help you to grow in your career. So start this conversation as soon as possible, because the longer you take, the longer it's gonna take also for you to get a promotion. So talk to your manager as soon as possible and start this process, right? And allow your manager to mentor you, right? Because it's their job. It's their job to mentor you and to help you, to guide you to grow to the next level, right? Be transparent, because that's a win-win, right? So if you help your manager to achieve their goals, it's going to be better for everyone. And just to remind you, this is just a warm-up event. The main event is going to happen on the 17th of September at 10 p.m. Dublin time. And I'm looking forward to see you there, right? And the last obstacle that prevents you to be promoted is poor performance reviews. So what is the impact of that? It's your reputation, right? If you have poor reviews, your reputation will be harmed, your trust and reliability as well. So managers won't trust you that much anymore. Your morale and motivation will go down. So it's not good to have poor reviews, but it's not the end of the world as well, right? Because like I said, we can't have the fixed mindset. We have to have the growth mindset, which is a mindset where empowers us to develop any skill. I am a proof of that. I'm an example of that, because in the past, I was a very bad communicator. I was pretty technical. I couldn't show my work. I couldn't give a talk. I couldn't, do anything other than technical stuff. But I developed those other skills because I knew that was the way for me to grow in my career. So you need to unblock yourself to understand that every skill you can improve any skill as long as you focus on that and you take action to grow in this skill, like I did. For example, I gave so many talks and I improved a lot as a speaker. So, and that happens because, I practiced. And the same thing will happen to you if you practice a skill that you find valuable. And a way to counteract poor performance reviews is to acknowledge and reflect on them. So if you get poor performance, try to understand why you got this poor performance, and ask your manager to give you feedback, to tell you what you should improve, and develop a plan for improvement. So once you understand what are your weaknesses, then you can work on them. And again, it's your manager's job to tell you something that is real. Don't accept something from your manager like, oh, you have to be better as software developer. Doesn't mean anything. You have to help your manager. If your manager is not able to give you something concrete, help your manager to think, right? To think about SMART goals. It's their job. They need to know how to do that. They need to know how to tell you specific goals that you can solve, something that you can achieve. Seek feedback, because if you're not able to take feedback, you're going to have lots of blind spots and you won't be able to improve, right? So I grew a lot when I asked for feedback for most of my coworkers. So it's a good thing to do that. Try adopting this mindset of always asking for feedback. And demonstrate consistency. So for example, if you deliver in one sprint 8 complex points, and then in the next sprint you deliver 2 points and 3 points, 2 points and 3 points, you lack consistency. It's much better to deliver always 5, 5, 5, 5 instead of delivering 8 all of a sudden, and then you deliver 2, 3. So be consistent. That will show that managers can trust you to deliver something complicated. Rebuild relationships, right? Sometimes by having a poor performance, maybe managers won't respect you that much, but you have to show attitudes where you show that you are able to deliver something complicated. You have to be consistent, respectful. You can't let your emotions control you. Sometimes with poor performance reviews, you feel demotivated, your morale goes down, and you might go through the thoughts that, oh, nobody cares, and what's the point of this job? Instead of going to this bad trip, try to do your best to rebuild a relationship and to be a professional, to have a positive attitude towards that you can do the best as possible. And the timing, consider moving forward. If it's very difficult to get promoted while you're getting poor performance reviews again and again and again, consider moving forward. Maybe try another company. And remember that your career is not based in one company. Your career, you can get a job in other companies, and you can study outside of your company, right? So you have to understand how is the market, what the market is asking for. They're asking for coding challenges. They're asking for microservices, for system design. You have to get prepared for those interviews as well, because it's another whole thing. Like if you go to your boss and say, hey, boss, I got this offer. Would you cover my offer or not? If your boss say no, then you say, hey, okay, so I will leave. I will go to the other company because I will earn a lot more there. And that's okay. That happens all the time with software development, and developers grow a lot faster when they do that. Okay, so that's just a grasp, just a gist from those important concepts. Just recap. So the obstacles, the first one is lack of visibility. If you don't show your work, nobody will know the work you're doing. Insufficient skills development. So you need to always stay up to date as a software developer technically by going to conferences, doing courses, and practicing. So important. Limited soft skills. So you need to practice your communication skills often. You need to know how to listen. That's very important as well. Leadership. You need to also always be reinforcing your mindset. That's important because it's something like your operation system. You have to take initiative. So lack of initiative is another obstacle. So don't be reluctant to get a complex task because that will help you to gain visibility. And poor performance reviews, that sucks, but it's part of the game. If you get that, make the best of that, take the feedbacks and understand what you can improve. And that's pretty much it, challengers. And just don't forget that on Tuesday, we're going to have the main event, which is the high value developer event. It's going to happen at 10 p.m. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And if you have any questions, just leave a message on my Instagram or on my YouTube or Twitter, whatever, the social media, and I'll be happy to answer to you, right? So thank you so much. Tomorrow we're going to have another event at the same time, and I'll be looking forward to talk with you, okay? And don't forget, put on your calendar, on the 17th of September is the main event. So thank you so much.